Hello and welcome to my British Bouldering Championships vlog. For those of you who don't know, the British Bouldering Championships is the UK's biggest bouldering competition and it took place last month in Manchester. My name's Louise, I was on the GB climbing team for 7 years and this was my first big competition in about a year and a half. So I wanted to take you along with me, and if you do have any questions about like competition climbing or climbing in general, then put them down in the comments and I'll get back to you. Let's crack on with the vlog. Good morning! Today is Friday the 23rd of January, which means that tomorrow is British Bouldering Championships and I will be competing. So I thought, why not talk to you about my history with British Bouldering Championships while I'm packing my stuff, because this will be motivation to get it done. I'm normally quite bad at packing for competitions and I end up packing in excess, but I'm only going to take my climbing bag and a mini suitcase, which is still quite a lot of luggage for a 2-day trip. So I first competed at British Bouldering Championships in 2021 and back then it was on Devonshire Green, which is like a big field in Sheffield, and they would like build a stage and the whole event would run outside, which meant it did have pros and cons. One of the pros was that you could have a massive crowd, it was open to everyone, really big event with like stalls and stuff. Downsides, like terrible warm-up zone, and it could also just tip it down with rain. This was my first year competing because I was 17, but when I was 16 it was COVID, so the event didn't run. So 17 was the first year where I was old enough to be able to do it, and this year I actually finished 9th, which retrospectively was really good for my first British Bouldering Champs. 2022 I didn't compete because there was a clash with Youth World Championships. 2023, this was the last year that it got held at Devonshire Green, and I actually managed to come third at this one. 2023 was when I was on my gap year, so I was training full time, really focusing on competitions, and I was really happy that I made the final and came third, because back when I went for the first time, I remember watching the finals and thinking, damn, that looks really fun, I really want to be there. Fast forward another year, 2024. This was the first year where they moved off Devonshire Green and the event was held at Last Sundance in Leeds. 2024 was a hard year for me comps wise because I'd started university at the end of 2023, moved out of Sheffield into Newcastle, basically lost all my coaching support because of the geographical changes, but I was still trying to perform at the level that I was in 2023 when I was training full time. So that was obviously a big change, a big challenge. 2024 season for me was not a very happy one. I was competing, but I just felt like my European Cup performances weren't where they should have been. I was doing okay, I just wasn't seeing much improvement. I was feeling pretty low and like anxious. That basically accumulated in a bit of a breakdown. This was literally like 2 weeks before British Championships, and in my mind I was like, am I going to compete? Am I not going to compete? And I just thought, yeah, I'm just going to compete, because I don't know. I think I hadn't fully processed by that point that I needed to take time off. But because I knew the state that my mental health was in, I also didn't put too much pressure on myself for that event. So in 2024, I actually came third again, which, considering the circumstances, was an incredible result. And I wasn't really disappointed, because it was just before that comp that I realised, right, I need to prioritise my health over my performance. And that leads us on to 2025. 2025 was the first year where British Bouldering Championships combined with GB trials. And I knew after 2024, I knew that I did not want to retrial for the team in 2025. I wrote a post about my reasons on Instagram, so if you do want a kind of well-articulated version, do check that out. But the long and the short of it was that I was really burned out from 2024, did not want to trial for the GB team, and I was not ready to compete at a national competition without the expectation and pressure on myself. So 2025 I didn't compete, therefore got dropped from the GB team, and 2024 was fine, honestly. But that does bring us to 2026, where we are now. And you might be thinking, oh, so you're doing the national championships, Louise. Does that mean you want back on the GB team? And the answer is no. So over the past 6 months, I've moved to London and I've been working full time. This has obviously affected my training. On my gap year, I think I was training about 20 to 30 hours a week. Now, on a good week, it's about 11. I also, because I've left the GB team, don't have coach support, don't have TAS, which is like a athlete program gym support. Back in December, I competed at Brawl on the Wall. And this is just like a kind of local but big competition. That was kind of my trial event to see, right, am I at a place now where I can separate my self-worth from my competition performance and separate my competition performance or my competition result more from my love for climbing. And I did that competition. I have really enjoyed competing, actually. It was like my first time on the mats in ages, and just the feeling of like having 4 minutes, locking in for 4 minutes, trying hard was something that I really enjoyed. My result honestly wasn't even that bad, and that was what led to me signing up to the British Championships this year. So my goals for tomorrow and the next day, results wise, I was gonna say make semi-finals, but I also forgot that semi-finals is now top 24 rather than top 20. So I'm saying semi-finals, but it's actually kind of top 20 results wise. But what I actually care way more about now than the results is that I put in a performance that reflects my climbing ability at the minute. Now I know for a fact that that is not going to be where I was in 2024. That is not going to be where I was in 2023. Let's be real, I'm not going to be on the podium at this event, but I want to put in a performance that feels like it reflects my climbing at the minute. Then on top of that, my main priority is to identify my weaknesses, identify things I need to work on, just get some footage of me climbing and write down what I need to improve on. And then I'm going to take those things, build them into a training plan, and then have goals for myself and work on those goals. Because one thing that I've realized this year is that goal setting is really important, not just in, oh, I want to come first at this event, I want to come top 8 at this event. No, goal setting is really important to give you the motivation to work on something, to show to yourself that you're capable of doing it. So to summarize, 2026, yes, I'm doing British Championships and I'm really looking forward to it. I want to climb well. Am I trialing for the GB team? No. Oh, I've packed like 3 things, it's not good. Okay, so climbing wise, this is what I'm bringing. I will pack it better. Boulder bucket, small chalk bag, liquid chalk and spare chalk. Looks a bit sus, but whatever. Old Dragos, new Dragos, tape. I also bring brushes, even though they're not allowed in competition, they're good to have for warm up. Towel, which is a bit of a random one, but it's to clean your feet with. Even though Depot Manchester has the carpeted mats, I think it's good to have. Tenzings, probably won't drink 4, but it's good to have. And then some liquid IV. I will also get snacks, also water bottle. Another important thing is put all those in a plastic bag, but then also bring like another tote bag, because when you go out to compete, you want like a bag that you can just put all your extra bits in, like Haribo's and water bottle and extra shoes. So bring like a spare bag as well. And then for other, oh, I've got my band. Okay, floppy North Face jumper, leggings, shorts, like honestly like 4 t-shirts and 2 vests. I won't actually need this many. I just can never decide what to wear and I want like options. 2 sports bras and a thermal layer. I'll also bring the clothes that I'm wearing right now, and I'll probably pack these joggers and bring some jeans and then my North Face jacket. And then foam roller and peanut. Oh, and then sleep, I'll bring cow my eye mask, and then I also have earplugs. Okay, I've arrived at the hotel and we just went for dinner, which was really good. I had pasta, which is kind of a bit of a pre-comp routine. Pasta, noodles, rice, something carby. This is the plan for tomorrow. So I'm gonna get up, we're gonna go out for breakfast. My start time isn't actually till 3:20 because I'm unranked, so that's why it's so late in the day. And I've written out my schedule for the day, which is another thing that I always do because I feel like on a comp morning, you're always stressed. It's just best to have it in writing what you're gonna do. So I've done my timetable. I've got my stuff laid out, but I will also pack my bag tonight because I don't want to be stressed tomorrow. Anyway, night! So on the morning of the competition, I got up at a pretty reasonable time and headed out to get some breakfast. We actually stumbled across this really cool cafe which had like a DJ and also some really nice food. I had a smoothie and an overnight oats bowl. Then went for the supermarket and for a little walk past the Man U stadium, which was quite random, but perks of being in Manchester, I guess. And then I headed to the venue around 1 and into isolation. I didn't get many videos in isolation because I'm not gonna lie, I was actually quite nervous and worried about warming up, but the isolation zone was the training room of the depot and then the competition was out front on the comp wall. Although there was isolation there was also demo videos for the qualification, so it's a bit weird, but I did know what I was going to go up against. And Boulder 1 I thought looked pretty my style. On my first go, I was actually so nervous. I should not have dropped the start move. I don't know what I was playing at. It was literally just nerves, I guess, because it was my first competition in like a year and a half, but that move was one that I should not have dropped. Luckily, I stuck it on my second go, and then getting the foot up was okay because I'm quite flexible, and getting into the zone was chill. Then for this top move, I'm not very good at dynamic moves at the minute, and I was struggling to understand the best way to generate momentum. So my first go was actually not too bad at all, and I hit the hold and it was pretty good, but I did not get my body in the right position, so I fell off. One thing I am quite good at is resting, so I made sure to do a lot of that. On my next go, I actually got worse. Yeah, that was terrible. And then my third go, this one was super close. I actually thought that I was going to stick it, but then just at the last minute, you can see my left foot I didn't use the right part of my shoe. I was too much on my heel rather than my toe. So when it came to holding the swing, I couldn't pivot properly. And then I fell off. And then finally I stuck it. And the top was a bit awkward, but not too bad at all. So I was happy with that one. First top in the bag. In between the boulders, we just sat on the edge of the mats and I did my usual routine, which is like have a drink, put my jacket back on, stay warm, and try and relax. Boulder 2 was this really technical vertical boulder, which involved a lot of slopers and a lot of Joltex feet. I don't know if you can see from here, but literally like 50% of the holds or the footholds on this boulder were Joltex and not very nice. On my first attempt, I made sure to brush the holds pretty well, and then I just took it really slow, working my way up the slab. I was really happy to stick the palm move first go because it did feel like one that you could drop, but I hit the holds and got the move. And then on this attempt, I was really struggling to transfer my weight to the right hand side of the volume, and it's basically because my left foot was smearing on the volume, and then there was a really small foothold that I was trying to stand on, but I couldn't get my weight far enough right to properly weight the right foot. Yeah, so as you can see, I just kind of, oh god, I don't know what I was doing. Clearly didn't work either. And then on my second attempt, what I changed was committing to stand on the Joltex foothold with my left foot, I was too scared to do on my first go because I hate Joltex, but it was actually so much easier. So then I stood up into the corner, and then this last move, the left-hand foothold, I think was also dual text. Yeah, it was. Yeah, the left-hand foothold was also dual text. The sloper was so bad. But while I was on the wall, I remembered back to the demo video, and on the demo video, the guy took his right foot off of the right foothold before moving, and I actually think that was super important because it meant that I transferred all of my weight onto my left foot, so when I went dynamically, my feet had enough tension to stay on. And then I topped that one, so second boulder in the bag. By this point, I was already kind of knackered, which is pretty bad after 2 boulders, but that's what happens when you're out of practice with comps. Boulder 3 was this pink one, which involved a flip move to start, and then a big bicep-y move into an undercut, and a dynamic, technical, but powerful finish. The starting position actually felt a lot more awkward than I thought it would, but I did manage to stick the flip on my first go. The second move was hard, but kind of as expected, pretty basic, so I flashed the zone on this one. And then for the last move, you had to smear on the volume and smear on the wall and kind of stand up into the crimp. And this hold, I thought it would be so much better than it was, but it was actually a really bad hold. So not only was the move really long, it was also really bad. Because I knew that I was tired, I just took a massive rest, basically, and then got back on. Yeah, my second attempt was actually worse because I was just knackered, so I just took another massive rest and then got even worse. Moving on to boulder 4, I think this was the most powerful block of the round. You started on 2 crimps, then went left hand into a crimp, right hand into what could be classed as a jug, but isn't really a jug. Yeah, so I was swinging about quite a lot, which I don't think was good. Oh my gosh, I always try and do figure of 4s, but I don't really know why. Well, I do know why, it's because I don't have any biceps, but they never help that much. Well, they do sometimes, but anyway, here they didn't. And then, yeah, big heel hook into that sloper. I was happy just to flush that zone. And then again, I thought, I don't have the strength for this. Let me just whack my leg up there. Bad idea, bad idea. I think what I actually should have done is drop knee between the right foothold and the left pinchy hold. Because that one was so physical and I'd already got the zone, I thought, right, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use up all of my time, rest, and then have one more good go at it. On this go, I then unfortunately messed up the right heel hook, which to be honest, I think happened probably because I was so tired, but I wanted to have one more go, and yeah, it was even worse. So as you can probably tell, the key theme of this round so far is not being strong enough. And then finally, boulder 5, which was the paddle dino boulder. So in ISO, my friend told me that he'd seen loads of people falling off this one, which wasn't very reassuring. And that was pretty much the only intel I'd had on the entire round. So I was like, well, I'll just try and jump. You probably noticed I'm taking quite a lot of time to read the boulders before getting on them. And I think this is something that is hard to do as a new competitor, but because I'm quite experienced and because I was quite tired, it's easy for me to kind of take the time that I need to A, read the boulder, B, brush the boulder, and C, compose myself to climb the boulder. So halfway through this boulder, the person filming me's phone ran out of storage, so a lot of my attempts are missing, but I did manage to stick the coordination dyno. And what's really interesting is, if I compare myself to other people who I saw retrospectively do this move, is my arms were so straight. Everyone else was like using power, and I just swung about it with straight arms. And then for the top, again, this was different to the demo video. The demo video did not have a right heel hook, which, yeah, in the end was my downfall. Basically, I don't know why I put on a right heel hook, because a right heel hook pulls you to the right, and I needed to jump up and to the left. So I think I could have kept the right heel on for this move, and then I should have taken it off and just swung for the last move, because the last hold was actually a jog as well. But anyway, sadly, didn't get that boulder. So after that go, I was finished, and I really wasn't sure how I would have done. Kind of guessed that I would be somewhere between 10th and 20th.
I just finished qualies. Oh my god, I'm so tired. After boulder 2, I was kind of cooked. I was like, shit, I need to start running or something. Anyway, boulder 1, top, that was good. I took too many attempts really, but it was okay because I did it. Boulder 2, also topped. I was actually happy with that one because I do think that's difficult. Third one, just gassed out on the last move. Fourth one, gassed out on the last move. Fifth one, gassed out on the last move. So that was a bit of a trend. I thought when I finished, okay, I'd probably top 24, but like not good. And I just checked the scores and I was in 8th, so I'm pretty happy with that. But I'm worried because I'm kind of cooked. I'm gonna go home, well, back to the hotel, have some food and prepare for tomorrow. But also, I do want to say, it was so nice climbing at 3 p.m. because the atmosphere was so much more chill than normal. And I was climbing at the exact same time as one of my friends from Edinburgh, Rory, who also, I don't know if he's made semis, but it looked like he was doing well. So that wraps up qualies. After I'd finished climbing, Willow did then come in above me. So in the end, I finished 9th on day 1. And I got some dinner and got myself ready for the semi-finals day. Now, sorry to be annoying, but I do have to edit that. So come back in 1 week's time, because I will be showing my semi-finals performance as well as reviewing the finals boulders, which you'll have to tune in and see. Right, it is literally 9:45 p.m, but I'm going to bed because I have to get up at 6:45 because I have to be in ISO by 8:30 and we've got to get the tram there. I did some stretching and like Theragun, and I will see you tomorrow.